Hello guys, what's up? This is ScherBR talking. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video will be about UniverSe. We will be discussing Blue and Rouge release, two very strong characters that got buffed for global. But before we do so, I need to ask your help. That is only if you can afford it. I need help purchasing two monitors because I am using a TV as my monitor since my last monitor broke, and I cannot afford it by myself since I don't really make much money from my channel. Well, and because of Black Fridays, we have a very good deal here in Brazil, and we can afford two monitors that can even be tilted and also rotate. That's super important for live stream because you can get one just for the game and the other one just for the chat and some other information that you may need for live streaming. Right now I have to use my TV and I cannot get it working perfectly. I have to use the same monitor for the game, for the chat, and also for other information, and it doesn't work so fine. So now without further ado, let's give a look on the new characters. This is a preview. I don't know if they would change it for some different stuff. So we are only taking the information that was posted on a Korean YouTube channel, and that information was also posted on Reddit. Okay, so let me just start with Rouge. Everyone loves Rouge because he's formable. It's like a ritual of initiation of this game. And because he's formable, you can easily get him to level 50. It takes a huge amount of effort, but a lot of people have. I already have and made a lot of strategy with this guy. So he was strong because he could inherit one very important skill called Shadow Chains from his Ace style. And now that style is not needed anymore. That is, if you summon for this version of SS Rouge. It's called All for this day because there's this Battle of Fate event, and right now the developers decided to make him a limited style. Him and his brother, called Blue, they are brothers if you didn't play the SaGa Frontier game, and they are like twins. Each one is like yin and yang, and because of that, it's kinda more important to summon for them because since they are limited. But here, remember, limited in Romancing SaGa UniverSe does not mean it's fully limited once time in life. We have to give a look on his status mods. They are twins, so they have the same status. What we are looking here on the left is the same status for both characters, but they still work a little different even through their status are the same. You can see that the SCR is very low, the endurance is also low, like all mages. The dexterity is a good point, 71% is a very good point. You don't need more than this for any other character that's not a gunner or archer. And the agility was buffed. It was only 48% before the changes, and now it's on 76. The problem is that if you are using magical shower formation, you still get hit by agility debuff, but now that we have a very high agility, we can still overcome some stages. I do believe that you still need rapid string to make them attack before the enemies for some other content, but this was a very nice buff, especially because to increase their agility, they reduced the love and Sha status for these characters. While Sha is useful in Rouge if you want to inherit energy drain, you will not be using energy drain with this Rouge, I assure of you, because he is made for other purposes. It's more about AoE or single target damage and just damage, not sustain. For sustain, you can still use the past Rouge if you want to, but well, you probably have to find a very specific reason to use the past one instead of this one. Okay, so the intelligence is super high on 89%. We will get characters that will get more than this, but 89 is already safe enough, it's a very good investment. Will is on 71%, well, mages have high magical resistance, and Love and Sha, we don't need to talk about this because they will not be using. And Sha actually they use because they need to be healed, and 40% is not so good, but well, most mages also have low values for Sha, unless they are healers as well. And for passives, they both share the same passive, man. They have three passives that are actually very strong. First one, Kicking Magic, has a 20% chance of intelligence buff on the start of a turn. You know, 20% chance of a 25 intelligence buff. 25 intelligence buff is not small. There are characters that get only 20% buff, and they are getting 25. That's already a good value. And because it's on the start of a turn and not after the attack, it's way better than some characters that we have right now that only get a buff after the attack. The second one is Weak Point Focus number 3, that gives 15% increase on damage if your target is weak to the damage that you are inflicting. And this is super important because they got a buff to the types of damage that it can produce. Fired Up 4 also increases 15% of the damage that you will inflict with any attack. So because you will always be hitting an enemy weaknesses, I assure you, most of the time you'll be hitting the enemy weaknesses, we already have 30% increase in damage with all our actions. And because they have high agility and high intelligence, that means that they will be better farmers and also better damage dealers for any type of content. This will allow them to keep being relevant in the game for a long time, especially because there are not many characters that can get more than 30% increase in their damages. So that all gets down to the skills if they are strong or not. And Rouge actually has one of the best skills in the game for a 6 BP rotation. The first one is better than, say, Light Ball. It's an AoE attack that costs 5 BP, can be reduced into 4, so it's very nice to have this for rotation. But there's only one problem with rotation with this Rouge, and I will explain. And yeah, 9 power modifier. When compared to Light Ball is only 7. 9 is the same as Chocolate Ball. But remember, White Rose do not have so much intelligence, so we have a skill that has the same damage as Chocolate Ball with a character that has way more damage and way more intelligence. That will be very nice. It's moon damage, so for now it's still standard. You can do kind of the same thing with your Judy. Judy has access to the same attack, actually. And the second skill is where things get very interesting, because this guy can do very high damage. Heaven and Earth and some other skills have like 28 or 29 modifier for single target damage, and up to this point in the game, if your character had elemental damage, they either increase the BP cost or reduce the potential damage of the skill just because it has elemental damage. The Rouge has a higher damage, 132 modifier, keep the same 6 BP that's always useful for cycling, and added a pierce damage. Burst part was not included to the Japanese version of this character, so this was a global change that made a character that is a mage produce pierce damage that's actually mostly common on physical damage dealers. Some mages can also produce slash damage if they have wind spells. We don't have many characters like that. We have Bionip, but she will be released very far in the future. After Bionip, that's a wind mage, we also get other characters that can produce blunt damage because they have, say, Earthquake or skills that are better on Earth. Earth deals blunt damage. We don't have an elemental that produces pierce damage. But now we have Rouge, a character that can produce an elemental damage on the same time on a skill that can be easily cycled. Starting with 6 BP means that he will choose this skill if you do not awaken or do not change the BP cost of the third skill, so that he will use this on turn 1, and then on turn 2, and then on turn 4. It's still very good for cycling. And this attack will be unique to him. There's no other character that has access to this skill. That's something different with Blue, because Blue share a skill with some other characters. We don't know if they will change in the future for Global this skill, but for now it's exclusive to him. And for the last skill, I still don't know the name as well. It's a single target spell. It starts with 13 BP, cost can be reduced to 10, so it can be used on turn 1. It's a double S damage with 51 power. Remember, SS damage starts on 45. Kongming has a similar output damage, and he needs 14 VP to unleash his skill. He cannot use it on turn 1. But now we have Rouge that is capable of doing 2 damage types. Because as you can see, this skill produces moon and cold damage. That is interesting because, well, Blue will have something that's more standard. It's Sun plus Fire, and Sun plus Fire is easily to find. Sun mages can have access to some spells that are both Sun and Fire already in the game. We'll get even more characters that can do this. Even T260G can do this as well. So having a character that can do Moon and Cold, it's a new thing. Usually when an enemy is weak against Moon, he is not weak against Cold as well. Unless it's a slime that it's weak against any type of elemental damage. So, remember when I said about weak point focus tree, that he will always be hitting an enemy weaknesses. You will have access to Moon, Pierce, Cold damage. And Moon, Pierce, Moon and Cold will always be available to you because they are single target attacks. And now we need to talk about AoE damage with this SS Rouge. he needs to get access to a skill that he learns with his S style. His S style was released like 3 months ago, and it was given for free. But now to get that style, you need to farm one stage. But with this event, I heard that you will also be able to get the S style of him just by playing the event and exchanging with currency. So that will be easier. He uses Energy Storm as an opener that can be reduced to 8 VP, and then he uses the first skill 2 times in a row. So he opens with a good AoE damage that's stronger than the first one, and then he uses the first skill 2 times in a row. So he can unleash 3 AoE attacks just like Judy. If you know, Judy is a very strong character that I gave a grade of 9.0 out of 10. And Rouge, well, let's give a grade to this guy, it's 10 out of 10. I was thinking about this, but guys, this combination is incredible. It's not something that we will see in this game easily. They made this because they will probably make some other events related to these 2 characters, especially when they release this SaGa Frontier Remaster, because we got this announced. If you are living in another world and you haven't seen any information about the remaster of SaGa Frontier, they will probably release that on July of 2021, and I assure you that they will bring back Rouge and Blue again, and they will still be relevant by July of 2021. And that's the whole reason why they also made a change to this banner, so it became limited, because they need the hype. They also want to try to make people that play SaGa Frontier play Reuniverse, and they will have a very strong character that will keep being useful for a long time. I understand when they make this type of changes, because limited characters are usually better than standard ones, and they have to be, because they are special and people will have usually to invest in some gems sometimes to get them. Okay, so this is my review on Rouge. He is super important. I will probably not summon for him because I don't have the gems. I made some decisions that I have to live with them. But if people have the gems to summon for these guys, stop when you get Rouge and Blue. Do not try to pursue other characters because they are not worth like SS Rouge and Blue. Okay, so now we need to talk about Blue. As you can see, I already changed the image on the background, and it's still very similar. Look here. The status are the same, like I said, they are twins. The passives are the same. They are twins. But the skills are not, because Blue is Sun and not Moon. Like I said, Yin and Yang. And Blue also get access to very peculiar stuff. Blue is a little more standard than Rouge, in my opinion, because look on some stuff here. The first skill is an AoE attack. It starts with 5 VP, can be reduced to 4. It's Light Bulb. We have access to Light Bulb with a lot of different characters. But it's good because he needs it to be an AoE attacker. He will also need to use Wildfire, and by inheriting Wildfire, he will have access to one skill that can be awakened into 8 VP. So 8 plus 4 plus 4 means 16 VP, enough to unleash 3 AoE attacks in a row. Wildfire is a little stronger than Light Bulb, actually way more stronger when you compare the final damage, and that's like the standard type of AoE attack with mages. They usually start with a stronger one and then go to 2 small ones, just like Rouge on this case. But the thing is that this attack is weaker than Rouge. Rouge has a 9 modifier, remember? While Blue has a 7 modifier. Okay, and now we have to check for the second skill of Blue. The second skill is a single target as well. Also starts with 8 BP, can be reduced to 6, and it's 8 damage as well. But here we have something different. The modifier is also lower, it's 30. And it's Sun plus slash damage. Sun plus slash damage, man, that's also very interesting because remember, Sun is usually strong against Undeads, but not only Undeads, some other enemies as well. And they are usually weak against Blunt. But some other enemies are either weak against Slash, but they usually are not weak against Sun. So you have a combination that will work in very different range of enemies. And the only problem here is that this version is not as strong as the second attack of Rouge. The difference is small, but Rouge has a 32 modifier. Again, Blue is losing to Rouge. But there's a point where Blue outmatches Rouge, and it's this third skill. The third skill starts with 13, goes down to 10, just like with Rouge, but it has a higher modifier. Just check this here. 51, 55. 55 will give him even more damage for single target attack. And this time it's sun plus fire. I didn't mention, but the slash added effect on the second skill is also global exclusive, like the third one that has a fire damage as well, heat, on the third skill. So he got slash and fire damage as well, for a character that was only capable of doing sun damage in the original version of the game. So, sun, slash and fire. Fire is something that you may need a lot of times. Like I said, this is called heat in the game. Some enemies are only weak to heat, and it's very hard to find a very strong fire spell, like we have with Judy that has dark plus fire. It's different, you know. If you have these three mages, you have a very good combination of strong mages that will serve you for a while. Especially because now we are entering an era where we get more characters that can do AoE damage for farming. On the start of the game, it was so scarce that you couldn't find many characters that could deal with some stages, because, well, enemies don't die in a single turn anymore. Sometimes they still do, but most of the time you need 2 turns to finish your enemies unless you can use AoE with all your characters. And that becomes even more important now, since it's possible to bring those characters. And they will make your farming way faster. Not only faster, but also better. It will give you more consistency, especially because of this agility buff, the attack before the enemies that can guarantee a win. So, I said that blue was a little more standard than Rouge. And the reason why is because the third skill is sun and fire. That's because sun and fire has some relationship in this game. It's like a byproduct. Just like lightning is a byproduct of water, or cold is a byproduct of water as well. So that's the reason why I don't think he is just as much as unique as Rouge. But that do not remove anything from blue, because that is still awesome. Man, sun and slash is not easy combination. Just like I said, most enemies weak against sun are weak against blunt. I saw some weak against pierce as well, but not weak against slash. So you have 2 sides, 2 different sides, exactly as Rouge. And he will be the best damage dealer for sun for a long time. I think that people say that he's still the strongest mage for sun damage, single target sun damage in the game in Japan right now. So yeah guys, I do believe that blue right now on release, just like Rouge, are 10 out of 10s. They will reduce their grades within time. They will get to 9.5, then 9.0, just like with more releases, some characters lose a little of their specialty. Because right now, blue and Rouge are unicorns. They have something that no one else has, and they are very good on what they try to offer. And let's remember, they both work with single targets or AoE damage. If you want them to do single target damage, just fully awaken skill number 2 and skill number 3. They will start with skill number 3 and then use skill number 2 after 2 turns and every 2 turns. If you want them to use AoE damage, you have to bring Inheritance and then just keep using skill 1. That is a very nice touch in characters that can adapt into circumstances and become even better than they are. Liz and Polka will get 2 different versions in the future. One is single targets and the other one is multi-target. So with this version of Blue and Rouge, you do not need another style to change it. You can make them both work for these 2 different scenarios, either AoE or single targets. I do believe they are both worth summoning for. It still depends on your gems. I know it's not easy to get gems. Well, this game is pretty generous, but you have to think about the amount of gems you have. If you have like 40k gems, man, go for this, because I think these characters will still be useful in a long time. And they will also be released with 2 other SS styles, so we have 4% chances of getting a new character. They are the stars of this thing. Alkaiser is also a good character, but not as good as those 2. And the other 2 characters will be added to the Platinum Summon. So that's the whole reason why I say this is a very good summon if you have the gems. So, well guys, this is it. I want to thank you all for watching this video. And if you are still not subscribed, please subscribe, leave a comment if you agree with me or not. And if you can help me make this purchase to make this channel even better, because you know, It's not easy to keep releasing stuff with a small channel. With your support, we can do this. We can purchase these 2 monitors to make better live streams. And if you decide to support, you can use this link here in the description of the video. And we see each other on the next video. Bye.